The Vietnam War, a war characterized by massive public outcry and the U.S. failure of implementing its containment policies. As for the North Vietnamese, however, the war resulted more in their favor, but not everything was smooth sailing for them because, unlike the U.S., they were not heavily industrialized and faced financial complications due to the destruction caused by the First Indochina War. During the calm interwar period, as a result of the Geneva Conference, Ho Chi Minh tried to consolidate his power in North Vietnam after the French withdrew its forces. This was all in order to establish a communist society there. To do so, Ho Chi Minh made reformations and reconstruction plans to not only gain the support of peasants, but also improve the livelihood of the people. Although the signing of the Geneva Conference ended the First Indochina War, North Vietnam was still on its continuous struggle for national independence.
The reformations Ho Chi Minh implemented impacted North Vietnam economically and politically. First, economically. Plans for land distribution began in 1954 to 1956. Land was taken from wealthy landowners and given to poor or landless peasants, and along came with the abolishment of rent and plantation systems. Since this aligned with the desires of the peasants, Ho Chi Minh gained their favor. But the boost in his position was short-lived as he made further plans to change the agricultural system with collectivization, which was first executed by the Soviet Union, but became a prominent trait of communism in China. Under collectivization, farmlands were organized into large state-owned collectives on which people worked. The peasants were against this plan because they only wanted land distribution rather than be forced to work by the state. Subsequently, about 1 million North Vietnamese refugees fled to the south. Ho Chi Minh also attempted to improve the economy of North Vietnam through industrialization. He wanted to take advantage of the mineral wealth of North Vietnam to develop industry, but this would require the help of the USSR. Due to the collapse of Sino-Soviet relations in the 50s, reliance on the USSR became a risky task. If North Vietnam openly requested assistance from the USSR, it can potentially make an enemy of the PRC, who could provide immediate assistance due to their close proximity. Nevertheless, Ho Chi Minh pushed for industrialization, while simultaneously rebuilding the military, placing a heavy burden on the economy. Politically, more extreme actions were taken. Following the withdrawal of French troops from North Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh began to remove French supporters through execution in order to expel foreign influence. Similarly, Ho Chi Minh also executed wealthy landowners as they countered the reforms that he wanted to set in place. The removal of groups who opposed Ho Chi Minh enabled him to push for communism.
With repairing the North, Ho Chi Minh also set his eyes on reunifying Vietnam as he did not see the South as its own independent nation. Although Ho Chi Minh did not initially endorse the Viet Cong, he later established connections with them through the Ho Chi Minh Trail, a dirt road that ran through Laos and Cambodia into South Vietnam. In doing so, Ho Chi Minh was able to send supplies, weapons, troops, and psychological support to the Viet Cong. Following this, the Viet Cong would become known as the National Liberation Front in 1960. How successful do you think were the methods used by Ho Chi Minh?
The methods Ho Chi Minh implemented by themselves were successful in creating a communist-like nation, but were unsuccessful in pushing their independent movement. But external factors from alliances to political circumstances of the South enabled North Vietnam to be victorious in the end. The land reforms received short-term success, but due to collectivization, the agricultural plans coerced millions of North Vietnamese to seek refuge in the South. However, South Vietnam also faced its own refugee crisis, so in a way, the two incidents balanced out. The execution of opposers and the exile of Catholics, along with the support of the peasants during the initial stages of the Reformation process, enabled Ho Chi Minh to be successful in instigating a communist government. On the other hand, Ho Chi Minh's other endeavors, such as promoting industry and building the army, placed heavy economic burdens on the people. On top of these, North Vietnam also faced famine because the split at the 17th parallel prevented them from accessing the main rice-growing regions around the Mekong Delta.
With no obvious success with his plans, how did North Vietnam stand a chance against South Vietnam, whom the US ardently supported?
Well, I would say the strategic alliances and the construction of the Ho Chi Minh Trail greatly bolstered North Vietnam's position. Despite the Sino-Soviet split, North Vietnam effectively manipulated their rivalries since the PRC would later support North Vietnam with troops and military supplies, while the USSR would support by offering missiles and aircrafts. Subsequently, in terms of resources, North Vietnam was prepared. As for internal factors, the Ho Chi Minh Trail allowed for the unification of communists from both South and North Vietnam. Strategically, the North Vietnamese use of geography foreign to their enemies provided them a significant advantage. The US airstrikes, along with the animals living there, made the trail dangerous, but the communist forces still managed to navigate through, sometimes even tricking the US aircrafts to bomb the mountainsides for gravel to repair or create new roads on the trail.